Yo, so Bungie did what Bungie does best at the PlayStation State of Play and then after the PlayStation State of Play. For my homies that have no idea what I'm talking about, Bungie dropped the Marathon launch trailer / server slam trailer towards the end of the PlayStation State of Play. And then following that, when we all expected for there to be like a developer live stream because they mentioned something along the lines of that, they decide to send their game lead, Joe Ziegler, on a stream with the homie Genji and the Burnt Peanut. But either way, I walked away from that entire experience with several general takeaways. And of course, I want to share those takeaways with you all. And real quick to preface, some of these takeaways are going to be like, well, Craig, yeah, duh, and some of these takeaways may be like, oh, you know what? I didn't think about that, So they're going to be all over the place. Just rock with your boy and let's have a conversation. So with that, one of my biggest takeaways was looking at the overall gameplay loop. For context, I've last played Marathon in, I want to say September, during one of the September playtests. Was it September? September or October? I can't quite remember, right? And then before that, we had the April Alpha, So in my experience, it was kind of night and day, right? It was kind of, hey, look, we're going to have a lot of PvP encounters, right? Or we're going to have no PvP encounters and it be straight kind of like PvE / do what you want to do and get out, So it was either or. Based off of what I seen in the Burnt Peanut stream and what we were experiencing in my live stream, again, watching the Burnt Peanut, the gameplay loop seemed so much more like cohesive and balanced, right? They would throw hands with the team, loot up, go fight some PvE, continue with their objective, which their main objective was to try to get into the pinwheel on the map outpost. The pinwheel's like this big, maze-like building or structure in the middle of the map. So they wanted to get in there, get these key cards to be able to get in there and be able to get the best loot out of the pinwheel, right? That was their personal primary objective. And in doing so, they had a balance of fighting AI, they had a balance of fighting other players, and it seemed just pretty smooth throughout. It wasn't hot or cold either way. It wasn't like, man, we're about to fight, all the teams on the map. And it wasn't like, hey, we can't find any teams, we're just fighting AI combatants. It was literally across the board, pretty straightforward, or not straightforward, that's not the right term. It was just pretty balanced across the board, in terms of the engagements and the encounters. And I'm not gonna lie, that kind of caught me off guard in a good way though. In watching that, I was like, man, you know what? I could see a world where there may be people that lean a bit more on the spectrum towards PvE that can really still enjoy this game, Now they will have PvP encounters, like that's going to happen bar none, that's going to be the reality of the situation. But the PvP encounters may not be as in your face as initially anticipated. Now, this may be a bit more map dependent, right? You may find yourself in the Cryo Archive where I would expect more CQC. That may be straight hands with PvP or other players, whatever you want to call it, whereas a map like Perimeter or Dire Marsh may be a little bit more open and maybe a little bit more emphasis on PvE. I don't know. But either way, I was really happy with what I seen, how they could throw hands, go back to their objective, fight some AI, try to get back to their objective, maybe fight another team, still look for the key cards, and everything just was operating with the utmost cohesion. Like, I could dig it. I can dig it. Kind of a sidebar takeaway here. The AI throws hands. They throw hands. There were numerous occasions where Peanut and Genji, and I mean even Joe in some instances, almost got rocked, or they did get rocked by the AI combatants, and they are aggressive, especially the commander level or the higher level AI. Like, yo, those UESC cats ain't playing no games. They will fly you, and they throw hands, and I'm talking literally, not figuratively, but literally. They will swing on you and it will do a ton of damage. So you have to definitely approach your PvE encounters as if you were fighting another team, as if you were fighting in PvP. And that's kind of good. That's kind of good. And you got to hear me out here. If the AI keeps you on your toes and you have to fight them as if they are an actual player, then when you run into an actual player, you should not get caught off guard. You see what I'm saying there? Now, you may get caught off guard if they sneak up on you, but if you're throwing hands and you're shooting everything that moves, and one of the things that moves ends up being another team, it should be an easier transition than if you were just shooting mindless bots or mindless AI on the map. Then you run into a team, now you got to wake up and lock in. No, you should be locked in because the AI in Marathon, they ain't playing no games. They want to put you down just like the other enemy players do. And to me, that's a W because it keeps the tension in each and every respective raid consistent, persistent, whatever word you want to use here, it keeps it rolling. Another big takeaway I had was realizing how objective-based Marathon can really be. For example, the whole key card, key room situation here in Marathon. And look, I know you're going to say, oh, Cray, I mean, that's just like any other extraction shooter, right? You find a key or a key card, you link it with the respective room, you go in, get the loot, right? But in Marathon, it's not as A to B, at least on the map Outpost in this particular instance. It was not that A to B. They had to find a way to get into the pinwheel. Once they got in, they had to find certain key cards or hope that they found certain key cards before they entered the pinwheel to keep progressing inside the building. And they had to do that, on 2 or 3 different occasions? I want to say just 2 different occasions where they had to find a way into the pinwheel. They had to open up the door to continue going inside the pinwheel, and then they needed to open up the door to that locked key room that had some of the rare items that they were looking for at that moment in time, you know? So it's like you are trying to have this progression inside a raid with everything going on around you, you know? Again, there are other enemy combatants out there. There's AI that's going to try to get in your way. And on top of that, there are multiple ways for you to be able to get into like this pinwheel structure as an example. So check this out. There was a moment where they were trying to get through the first door to get deeper into the pinwheel. And when they opened up the door, it was a team already in there, right? And my first thought was, yo, how the heck did they get in there? And then it registered in my brain, oh, there's multiple ways for you to be able to get in deeper in the pinwheel. And I was like, dang, that's dope. Because again, everybody in the lobby, they're trying to get to the best stuff, right? So as everybody converges on that one point, everybody has a different journey to get there. And of course, you're going to have that PvP encounter, and the victor pretty much will be able to claim all the spoils of war. Well, as long as the AI doesn't overrun them and put them down, because that is liable to happen in this game. But the entire time I was watching, I just was like, oh, okay, like I can dig that. An objective within an objective. And the icing on the cake is they weren't focusing on any of the missions, right? So we're talking about an objective on top of an objective on top of an objective, and I can't even talk. I'm twisting my tongue up, but you all are getting the point here, right? Like you're going to have so many opportunities to literally do anything and everything in Marathon, whether if it's your own objective, whether if it's a mission-based objective, whether if you want to just go PvP, whether if you just want to enjoy the scenery, I don't know. Tile City is going to be your oyster, man. And I think it's dope that there are multiple directions that you could take. Oh yeah, real quick, something I almost forgot to mention is the fact that there are these world hazards and or world events going on around you. So again, using this stream as an example, they had this fire rain event, not even an event, but hazard that kept going on. It's like a firestorm. I forgot the name of it, but it happened every so often on random, or excuse me, at random. So literally they would be fighting outside and the fights would have to get pushed indoors, or they would have to break away and have a ceasefire because it's raining fire outside, you know? So it literally changes the entire paradigm of what's going on, what you're doing. And now you're just trying to survive and not get caught out in the firestorm because it's going to do damage. The damage is going to accumulate. And if you get caught out there lacking, it can be troublesome because AI is still shooting at you, other players are still shooting at you, so on and so forth. So hazards like that can slightly shift what you got going on there, but also at the same time, it makes the world feel so much more alive. It makes what you're doing not feel so static and every run feel a bit different. Because I would assume there probably will be different hazards and different world events that will come in the mix as the game further develops and as time goes on. I'm sure they're going to keep cooking up stuff to drop on maps just to, again, mix up, not necessarily the gameplay loop, but just mix up the environmental factors for you. So again, every raid finds itself being a bit more different. Now, this big takeaway here, you all are going to be like, Cray, duh, we've been telling you this for weeks upon months. And look, I know, but it really hit me as I was watching this live stream. Yo, every piece of gear matters, man. Every single piece of gear that you acquire matters, yo. And no, I'm not talking about just random items you find out there on Tau Ceti or on the Marathon ship or whatever, but I'm saying everything that you can equip matters, yo. Like, it's not just the cores or the implants that give you these type of buffs and boosts, right? Whether if it's to your weaponry or if it's to the runner shell, but even down to the backpacks. I had this light bulb moment where Peanut picked up a backpack and he looked and he was like, oh, this backpack gives me the opportunity to put on heals faster, right? Or this backpack right here allows for me to, I can't remember if it was carry more ammo or utilize more ammo or something along the lines of that, right? And again, these are all things that we experienced way back in the alpha and that we knew was there, but in watching it happen in real time, I just was like, dude, the build crafting just got an entire new layer for me, right? Because imagine you're running triage. You've already spec'd in the triage with the implants and with the cores, but even down to your backpack, right? Like, so you use triage's prime ability, right? You go ahead and send your little homie over top one of your teammates, and you got the fast heal backpack on, so you can pop heals faster, which means your teammate gets healed faster, right? And then you may have a core or implant on that allows for your healing rate to increase, and that applies to your teammate as well. And the list goes on, right? I'm making up stuff here, but I'm just saying, like, the opportunity for more in-depth build crafting is right there in your freaking face, and it just slapped me at that moment. I had the light bulb moment, and I was like, yo, this is going to be even crazier than I thought, man. And Shax was talking to me like, you fool, I taught you this stuff in the Crucible, man. You know better. And I'm like, Shax, you right, bro. You right. So Shax smacked me upside my head, and I was like, I deserve that. And you may be asking, why do I keep putting Shax in the camera? And I would say, I don't know. I don't know. It's Friday. My brain is barely working, but we here anyways. All right, Cray, let's get back on track here. I had another big takeaway here, and this one is more so around the homie Rook, okay? So I realized long ago that the Rook runs would be fun, a good time, but actually seeing it in action, again, set that light bulb off in my head, and I was like, yo, these Rook runs actually are going to be fun. Or if you're not running Rook and you run into one out in the wild, they're going to be so entertaining. And look, I know since it was just Peanut and Genji playing, they were the only creators playing, everybody else were developers, I would assume Bungie was like, look, whenever you encounter Peanut, play off of his energy, play off of him, so on and so forth, right? But in doing that, we were able to see how the Rooks could operate. So there were a couple moments there when a Rook would find Peanut's team, and the Rook would say something along the lines of, follow me, I'm gonna take you to get some good loot, or follow me and we're gonna take this entrance into the pinwheel, whatever the case may be. There were moments where the Rooks aligned themselves with Peanut's team, so it was almost like they had a squad of 4, and then the Rook would go down and like, no, we lost our Rook, you know what I mean? Like, there are so many opportunities, whether if you're playing Rook or you run into a Rook out in the wild, for you to have those moments where, of course, you could just kind of, you know, put them down and keep on going, but you can have some interaction. You could jump on prox chat and be like, yo, Rook, join me, or I'm putting you down right here, right? And you make the Rook your hostage. Or you can say, Rook, I got an offer for you that you can't refuse, you know? Come join us. We're getting ready to go into this loot room here. Enjoy the spoils of war if you support us, right? Whatever the case may be, those Rook runs are going to make for so many fun and funny moments. I can tell you right here, right now, like, it's going to be pure cinema. And personally, I can't wait, because when you can infuse fun like that into a game like this, that's going to be like high stakes, high tension, stress, so on and so forth, having that Rook being the thing that alleviate some of that tension and stress in some of those moments where you're like, oh, my heart's about to explode. And then you see a Rook you see a Rook crouch walking from around a corner, just looking confused. It's like, bro, what are you doing here? You know, what are you doing here? You prox chat to him, you get him to run with you, you all exfil together with some good loot, and it's a win-win. You know, like, I can already envision and I can already see what Bungie's doing there, you know, and I can't wait to fully experience it. And I have to say, my final big takeaway, at least in this moment in time, and this is just kind of the overarching theme of everything, right? This is going to wrap everything up. The world felt so much more alive, yet dark, gritty, and tense. You know what I'm saying? Just to put things in perspective, we watched the Burnt Peanut stream this game. The Burnt Peanut is a comedian. He's a funny guy, chill, good vibes, all that good stuff, right? And even with him having that type of energy, the world still felt dark, gritty, again, tense. It felt like if you make the wrong turn, your run could end right then, right there. You can get caught off guard by an enemy team, by, you know, a UESC commander, whatever. You can get caught off guard, you can get put down, and your day, or that raid in particular, is over, you know? Like, that's the world we're looking for. And yo, I can't lie, a few times I found myself being like, yo, what the heck even happened here, right? Like, just because of the ambiance, I'm like, what played out here on Outpost? Why is this an abandoned outpost now? Like, I need the lore, I need the missions, I need the narrative to flesh this out so I can understand what's going on. And anytime a world gets you going like that, man, it's a GG's, yo. It's a GG's, because you are immersed, you are hooked, you are invested. And that is a huge W, because it makes your raid and your runs feel like you are trying to uncover what the heck happened there. Like, you are actually a part of the story yourself, you know? So yo, I'm geeked, man. I'm geeked, I'm excited, I am ecstatic. I can't think of any more words, but I'm just ready to experience this. In seeing everything that I've seen, and just kind of encapsulating everything from my takeaways. And I know a lot of my takeaways were general and were more of a, well, yeah, Craig, duh, like we all seen that, we all get that, right? Like nothing was like monumental, or I wasn't exposing any secrets here or anything, right? But I think it's just great to see where the game started and where the game is right now. This game feels so much more complete, and I haven't even played it, right? But in just watching it, the game looks so much more complete than it did back in April. And I could only imagine if the game released in September, like, we would have missed out on all this. So I'm grateful for the delay. I think it was in Bungie's best interest here. And now we have the product. And I believe we're seeing the vision that Bungie actually set out for us to see. With that all being said, though, Shax and I, we will hand the mic over to you all. Let me know down in the comments what your biggest takeaways were from this live event in general. I would love to hear. I would love to have a dialogue with you all about this in the comments. As always, let's keep it civil. And if we want to throw hands, wait until we can jump on Tau Ceti and we can knuckle up if need be. Until then, though, I am signing out. It's been your boy Cray. I love you all. Thank you all so much for coming and watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.